All right, now joining us, very happy to have this man. I don't even know where he is in the world right now, but he is the UFC's number 4 ranked welterweight contender, the silent assassin. I've said on the air the not so silent assassin because he absolutely ruins people. Vicente Luque is with us. Good evening, sir. How are you, Vicente?
Hey, I'm good. Good evening, guys. Thanks for having me here. And yeah, I'm right now. I'm in Florida. Tomorrow I'll be flying back to Brazil, and all over the world all the time. But it's good. It's part of the sport, you know. Got to travel a lot, and I enjoy it.
So you have a tremendous inner circle. I guess we'll just start there with your team: Daniel Evangelista, Henry Hooft, obviously Gilbert Durinho Burns, many, many others. But the bulk of your training is done in Brasilia, and that's where you're obviously leaving shortly. Is that right?
Yeah, most of my training is done at Cerrado MMA in Brazil. That's the team where I started at in 2009 when I started my professional career. And it was a small team, but little by little, you know, especially with me being in the UFC, it grew a lot. And now we have Vivi Araújo, who also fights in the UFC, and she trains down there in Brazil as well. And we have a whole bunch of professional guys, some guys fighting in LFA. I believe soon they will be in the UFC as well. So yeah, I mean, it just works out for me over there. We have a very similar mentality to Henry, you know, to keep it simple, and it's a great relation also. So I'm always with Sanford MMA as well. As much as I can come here to Florida and train, I do, and I make sure that I work with both teams, you know, in joint efforts.
Vicente, you know, your last 4 opponents, all really tough. And not only did you beat them, but you finished all 4 of them. Is there something you could pinpoint where you say, you know, my game's coming together, or this is the reason for my success? Is it just, you know, experience now? What is it?
Yeah, I would say experience is one of the things. I'm 30 years old now, but I have already over 30 fights. I started fighting when I was 17 professionally, so I think experience is a big part of it. I've had great wins, but I also had tough losses, and I think that's what taught me the most, and that's what made me the athlete I am right now. You know, those losses, learning how to, I don't know, learning how to go through adversity, even when I was, you know, with a 6-win streak, and then I got a loss to Thompson. And at that point, I could have just said, you know, I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm really that good, but I still believed in myself. I rebuilt myself, and now I'm in a great streak, and I'm in a great position. And I believe soon I will fight for that title. And I do believe that I can be the next champion at welterweight. So yeah, I think it's just experience and believing in myself, and working hard no matter how hard things get.
It's so interesting because you were 7-5-1 after you lost your UFC debut in 2015, and you're probably sick of people bringing that up. But sometimes I feel like maybe that's why it took you a while to, you know, be the welterweight alternate that they go to, or to get your first UFC main event. You and I have talked privately about the value of a main event, and you know, you might have gotten a championship opportunity if a guy had a bad weight cut not all that long ago, right? So you're getting the main event now against Belal Muhammad. I would imagine the main event was a lot of the drive for you in terms of rematching a guy that you have a quick knockout against. Like, how did this come together on your end?
I mean, I'm always up to fighting, and at this point, you know, the welterweight division is a division that has a lot of action, and I didn't know where I was going to go. Me and Gilbert, we're not going to fight. That's a fact. I mean, we're brothers. Yeah. We're not fighting each other, so we're going to find a way to make this work, you know, even though we're not going to fight. So we have Kobe and Masvidal. Leon probably is getting the title, and I had no one else, you know, nowhere else to look at. There's Shimaev. That's a fight that I've said that I would take. Gilbert has said that he will take it as well. So
right.
I believe the UFC knows about that. So they were working, and I got offered Belal. For me, it's a fight that makes sense for many reasons. One, I want to keep myself active. I'm not gonna, you know, wait for over, I don't know, a year to maybe get a title fight. So
right.
I want to just keep myself active, and it has to be a fight that makes sense. For me, number 5 in the world, a guy that is coming on a good win streak, makes sense. You know, even though I fought him in 2016. we fought for 1 minute, so it's a different fight now. It was a knockout at that point, but I don't know what Belal has evolved a lot until now, so it's a different guy, it's a different opponent, and I think it's a big fight, especially for the division, for the fans.
Yeah.
Whenever I step in there, I know it's a great fight, and the fans are going to enjoy it.
Listen to this fucking guy. Why are you not an analyst? I mean, the guy's bilingual. I mean, seriously, have you done any television work before, sir?
I haven't done. It's something that I am interested, but I don't know. I'm not that engaged with social media and everything, so maybe that's why I'm not more. I don't know. People never see this side of me, but whenever I'm in interviews, sometimes I'm in Brazil. I have done some things on TV in Portuguese, and people like it. I don't know. I like to talk. I can talk a lot. I'm the silent assassin as a fighter, but as a person, I enjoy talking, and people like to hear me talk. So I don't know. Maybe I got to do some more of this.
I'm telling you. I mean, I'm not going to publicly ask you who your manager is, but maybe we should talk to that individual. So did you just have your first kid or a child? Is that accurate?
My first kid, yeah, I had my first kid, and man, it's super awesome. It's something that I've never imagined was gonna be like this, and I don't know. It's the best thing ever. It's hard to describe. Only once you have a kid, you know what it is.
How old is your baby?
He's 8 months.
Oh, wow.
You could hear him.
About to get on.
I'm going to get him.
Good. Yeah. Bring it on. I love it. About to put the baby
here
on
he
the metal.
is.
Oh, my God.
Look, Bento.
Look at that belly.
Go with your mom.
Congratulations, man. That's amazing.
Thank you.
So you're about to get on a metal tube airplane with that child, right? Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah.
All right. So first meeting with Belal Muhammad at Madison Square Garden, massive show. It was November of 2016. And that fight happened like 6 or 7 weeks after you had another fight that you won by knockout. So you made a quick turn to fight Belal. Obviously, you mentioned he's a different animal right now, but what do you remember, if anything, about the first meeting and the preparation for it?
The first time we fought, it was, I believe, 2 or 3 weeks notice. He was going to fight, I don't remember who he was fighting, but he was going to fight someone else. They got caught on USADA, something like that, and they offered me the fight. So, that's why I say it's such a different fight, because I didn't watch much tape on him. I watched maybe his fight against Alan Jouban, because he had just started in the UFC, and I knew that he was a tough guy. He could take a lot of damage. So once I stepped into that fight, I thought it was going to be 3 rounds, and it was going to be, a tough fight. So I got there. I was able to get the knockout early. I believe I'm the only guy to have knocked him out, and that shows how tough he is. After that, nobody was able to do it. So, I look at this fight as a new fight. It's hard for me to take much from the first one. What I will take is, I know that I can hit him, and I know that I can hurt him, and that's what I'm going to do against anyone. I'm always going to try to put them out, and that's what I'm going to try against Belal. I'm going to go in there and look to take him out every single round, even though I want to have the experience of fighting 5 rounds. I want to go for that title, so that's interesting too. We'll see if he can withstand what I'm going to bring. It's going to be a fun night for sure.
One of the most accomplished finishers in UFC history, Vicente Luque, with us here on the Anik and Florian podcast, the owner of the 3rd highest finishes per win percentage in UFC history, 14 UFC finishes. Pretty damn impressive in his 17 UFC wins. Ken Flo is the guy who hopped on a microphone when his voice was several octaves higher and said, "I finish fights." So he always likes when we have guys that actually put people away on the show. A few more minutes with you, and you're very gracious to give us some time on a Sunday night. So some people would say that your best win or your signature win was the recent submission of Tyron Woodley. What would you say is your most underrated win? A guy that you're proud that you beat that maybe nobody talks about. I thought maybe Jalen Turner, who I think is pretty talented. That was a big show that you beat him on. We talk about you knocking out Thiago Santos in 2012. A lot of people don't know about that. But what do you think is your most underrated win?
I don't know if it's underrated, but it's my favorite win against Brian Barberina, just because of how the fight went down. I started off really good, and then everything, in the end of the first round, I got clipped, I got knocked down, I took his back, I almost finished him. But at that point, I used all my energy. I had been knocked down. I thought I needed to finish the fight. It didn't finish. I come back to the corner, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna lose this fight. I wasted all my energy in that choke. It didn't work out. What's gonna happen? But at that same moment, when I thought about that, I thought about, like, for me to become a champion, it's gonna be hard. So this fight has to be hard. It has to show me, has to build the way for me to be ready for a title fight eventually. So I'm gonna have to suck it up and go in there and find a way to win. And then I had, a tough second round. He came, blasting, trying to knock me out. I could, whenever I could try to knock him out as well, I tried. And I think that fight, I don't know, it had some kind of record of punches or something like that. And at the end, I got the knockout with 6 seconds for the fight to finish. And that's really special for me because I know how tough Brian is. And I could show everyone that I am tough as well. I could step in there with a tough guy and just go to it was a slugfest. My coaches were crazy. Daniel and Henry, they were saying, like, man, what were you doing? Why didn't you kick more? Why didn't you move more? But I don't know. It was after I got knocked down, everything changed. And I just had to do what I did, and I got the win. And it's for me the most exciting fight. I love to watch it. Whenever I have a chance, I watch it again.
It's exciting just to think about all the developmental time that you've had in the UFC, and just things have built kind of perfectly to where you are right now. All right, a couple more before we let you go. Best Brazilian fighter in MMA history. I hate to put you on the spot, so I'll delay and give you both a little more time because Kenny's going to have to answer this later. Best Brazilian fighter in MMA history. God, I hope I'm not forgetting anyone. But Twitter only gives you 4 choices. See, I'm delaying. Best Brazilian fighter in MMA history: Jose Aldo, Anderson Silva, Vitor Belfort, or Damian Maia. I knew I had to include Damian Maia for this audience. So, who's the best Brazilian fighter in MMA history, Vicente?
Man, if I were to go with what I like, I would go with Vitor Belfort. But for me, it's either Vitor Belfort or Shogun, because Shogun is my favorite fighter. I've always inspired myself. When I was young, I used to fight with the bad boy shorts just like him. Right. But from that list, it would have to be Anderson Silva. And, realistically, as analyzing only for fights and for what he did, I think Anderson Silva is the GOAT. Even non-Brazilian.
Okay. Yeah, no, I get that. Of course. Minotauro, Nogueira, Shogun, who, I can't. 4 choices, Kenflo. Well, we'll get back to that later. All right. So 30 years old, over 30 professional fights at this point. I don't know how many children you want to have. I would say 2 or less. You don't need 3 or more. That just becomes a real hassle. But over under 40 total fights before you retire. I had you at 29 right now, but how many more? I mean, when do you think about how many more you have in you?
Professionally, I mean, they say it's 29, but I counted 2 from The Ultimate Fighter because they were 3 rounders, both of them. So that's why I say 31 fights. And I don't know. I don't have a number. I don't chase a number of how many fights I want to have, but I like to stay active. Last year, I fought 2 times. 2020 also, I fought 2 times. And I don't know. For me, the perfect number would be 3. I had I think from 2018 to 2019, in 12 months, I was able to have 5 fights. So I don't know. I want to stay active. I like to fight. That's why I have so many fights. And maybe I'm sure that until 36, 37, I can fight. And we'll see. It's many years, many fights to have. So, I'll think that I'll go over 40, maybe close to 50 fights.
It's a young man, Kenny. He's born in 1991. I mean, Kenflo was like 15 when you were born. Hey, I'm just facts. Just facts on my sheet. Hey, man, We are so happy for you, and just to see you and Gilbert rise in this division together. And, anyone who knows anything knows you weren't going to fight each other, but it's massively exciting that you have this main event against Belal Muhammad. And certainly if you win that and get that finish, which is your customary, probably looking at a championship opportunity. So safe travels. Thanks for fitting us in, and wish you guys all the best on your quest to become the greatest in the world, my man. Thank you for the time.
Thank you guys for the invitation, and it's my pleasure. Whenever you guys want to talk to me again, I'll be available.
My man. No, we're going to talk.
man.
We'll talk off the air about getting you a hot microphone. But there he is, folks, on social media at Luque.